fine evening. What's up,
Hello, I
sis?
don't care.
Hi. Good to see your face again.
Good to see you too.
Yeah, what's up? Thank you for joining me on this Love Talk series. I'm glad you say yes to this. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm glad to. Thank you for having me.
All right. So, well, to my audience, I want you to first introduce yourself to us, and before we get into the conversation proper, I would also want you to, because I know you launched your book last year, so I also
Yes,
want you to share with us on becoming fruitful, what that
mm.
is all about. So just let's meet you.
My name is Nimot Dion. I like to call myself. I'm a writer, an author, a speaker. Yes, I launched my book last year, April. It's a biography. It's more of my life experiences from childhood, but majorly what gave rise to the book is because of my experiences so far when it comes to relationships, not necessarily love relationships alone, but my relationships with people, family, you know, everything was all packed together. Everything has all been packed together to create my kind of mindset, and where I am today. So
Mhm.
basically, that's what the book is about.
Oh, okay, perfect. And how is it going with the journey of the
Yeah,
book
I
launch?
shared in the book, I shared some experiences of difficulties, moving from learning stage to actually living life with the things that I have learned and known. Mistakes were made. And one of the major reasons why I wrote the book again is so that when people get to read it, especially the younger generation, they can um, see some mistakes that I've made and that could be avoided, that could have been avoided, you see.
Mm-hmm.
And then they can actually learn from it and advance faster in life without, having those pitfalls, having to fall down, pick yourself back up,
Mm-hmm.
and all that.
Mm-hmm. Wait, oh, sorry. Is this is part of these mistakes? Does it involve or include people serving you breakfast? Have you
well,
received that?
well,
Or you are the
um,
one serving them breakfast?
I got served breakfast, yes,
Mm.
but I feel like it was more of things that happened without it was not like I never got my heart broke because I never really experienced that breakup, that kind of breakup that, oh, he cheated on me or something like that. Yes.
Mhm. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So I want to ask because there is a scripture I want us to look into, but before then I want to ask your relationship status, if you don't mind me asking. Are you single? Are you married?
I'm single.
Ah, okay. All right. So there is this scripture that talks about don't be unequally yoked,
Hmm.
right? I heard that, I think it was this past Sunday, from I think from a teaching. And when you hear that as a Christian, I believe you are a Christian,
Yes.
right? A believer. When you hear that, what does that mean to you? And in the context of a relationship, right? Of love, having to know that say we should love people, everybody. So what does that mean to you? Don't be unequally yoked with unbeliever. Does it mean that we have to be in relationship with someone that have what we have, that believe what we believe, that is going where we are going? What does that mean to you? Because I'm trying to understand that.
Okay. I feel like it's about first of all, it's about the belief system, the mind.
Okay.
Because in the Bible there are set down rules,
Right.
for us to follow when it comes to relationship. And these rules are not there to hound us. They're not there to like make us feel uncomfortable,
Mm-hmm.
or just feel like we're missing out on what other people are actually doing, people that are
Mm-hmm.
unbelievers. I feel like in at the long run,
Mm-hmm.
when we go by these rules, it like helps us to organize our lives. They are meant for us to help us.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I'm going to use myself as an example.
Yeah.
Um, I I had to learn the hard way. You see, I was not born a Christian.
Okay.
I I loved everything about Christianity. I loved to since I was young,
Mm-hmm.
but I never really saw myself, becoming a Christian. Even though I listened to uh, messages, preachings, and teachings from the men of God and all that, and I also love gospel songs. I never really thought about like reading the Bible and just, living my life by the laws, of God
Mm-hmm.
from the Bible. But as I grew up, I began to understand some things about myself. I was drawn to, this lifestyle. When I can tell you that when I gave my life to Christ, like when I made that declaration, I made it out of just love for Christ and everything around being a Christian, but I never really like lived that life. So I was
Mm-hmm.
naive, you know.
Mm-hmm.
In my book, I said something about my parents teaching us to be, you know, responsible, to be respectful, and all of these things. But I made a very clear statement that they didn't teach us to know some certain things, even though they are Muslims, right? They didn't teach us to know some certain things that would help us. Like, for instance, I was taught to be a good girl, not wayward, but I was not taught to know how to recognize the right person for me. You see, I was not taught all those things. They didn't really
Mm-hmm.
like sit me down to tell me, okay, if you are like this, and you want to be successful and happy in your relationships or in your life, you
Mm-hmm.
should be like this. And you see that Bible verse that you just quoted
Mm-hmm.
about being unequally yoked. It's like a teaching on its own that when we have it, when we meditate on it and like really think about how it helps us, it
Mm-hmm.
will help us to align our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And then you will just know that, okay, even if you are somebody that don't know what you really want,
Mm-hmm.
even if you're somebody that don't know what you really want in a relationship, just following you know, that Bible verse, like
Mm-hmm.
like a student that's just following something so that they can pass, it can actually help you.
Mm-hmm.
Because you yourself, you are trying to like become a better person, you're building your faith, and then somebody comes that is not in line with what you are doing. That alone can help you, excuse me, that alone can help you align your life, because you already know that this person is not going where I'm going. This
Mm-hmm.
person is we're not doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's my own take.
Okay. Okay, so just like you said, we're not taught a lot of things, and but then you think that is the reason why we keep doing relationship wrongly. You think as a result of that, or also that it's not that I think we always say it's the absence of information, right? Absence of awareness. And we cannot say that we have a lot of information right now. So still, we still have people do things differently, make wrong choices, unhealthy choices. So why do you think that is?
I don't know, for so many people. I want to use myself as an example.
Right,
Like I said, I was naive.
right.
I When I started dating,
Mm-hmm.
I did not feel like I was doing it because I was courting someone in order to get married. See,
Okay.
I was young. Let me see. I started dating at what age, if I'm permitted to say that. I started dating at the age of, I think, about 21. Like, yeah, my
Okay.
first yes to, sorry, I think 20. Let me take you back a little bit. And then
Mm-hmm.
we were kind of connected, we were in love, we were just enjoying each other's moment. And he respected me. He
Mm-hmm.
respected, my decisions of not, getting in bed and
Mm-hmm.
doing all, the act. But one thing that I know that I noticed that happened was that this person was thinking about the future.
Mm-hmm.
I was also thinking about the future. In fact, I already felt like this is it. I met someone that I really liked. There was somebody that, was like asking me out before him. We kind of wanted to kickstart something, but then it did not, you know, it was not as tangible as it didn't make sense. It was not as tangible as with this other guy. And then the whole thing started,
Mm-hmm.
and then things started to happen. Like I said,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have prior knowledge of what a
Yeah.
relationship should be like. I just
Yeah.
knew that, okay, I don't want to have sex. I knew that. I knew that I did not want to have sex, in a relationship. I was not ready for it. I did not think about when I was going to be ready. I did not also state that I wanted to be my wedding night. Let me not be acting like holy, you understand?
Mm-hmm.
But I knew at that time that I was not ready for it. And I told him, and he respected that. But
Mm-hmm.
I started to realize that there was more to, a relationship than all of that. Okay. How I knew that he was thinking about the future, even as young as we were, was that he started because as at that time, I identified as a Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
He is a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
So he was getting worried about, you know, our status, like, you know, religion wise.
Mm-hmm.
And it started to make me really think that, okay, we have this much like chemistry, we have this much um the relationship between us, the communication, everything was heavy. So I just kind of like I was looking at him as this is the one for me. And I
Mm-hmm.
guess it was the same for him as well. But some things happened along the line, and that was really where my story began to take shape because we started to fall out. Um,
Mm-hmm.
some things happened, and he just started to, avoid me. I can kind of like say that, looking back,
Mm-hmm.
hindsight, I now understood, or I understand why he, he like took
Made
steps away
decisions.
from me.
Yeah.
It really pained me, it really broke me. And then from that moment onward, I can tell you that I was not interested in love anymore.
Mm.
But the mistake I made was I didn't have enough experience, with
Mm.
people, with relationship. I didn't know that people have motives. People,
Mm.
you know, people don't just get into relationship, especially young people. You see, if you're like now I'm an adult, I understand what relationship should be about. It's about companionship. That's the major do you understand? So then I was just getting into relationship because I felt like I'm old enough. I can be in a relationship. I didn't want anything special.
This
I
is
was not,
actually most people's intention when they get into relationship is as a result of their age. I'm old enough. I have what it takes. You see, right? Yeah.
So I felt we fell out. We fell apart. And sometimes I'll call him, and then for months he would not call. But I could tell that we were still kind of connected. There was something going on. And what really made us fall apart, I'll say, is because of our religion. Because I started to he started to like really worry about we had a kind of conversation one time that really got us to talk about that aspect of our lives. And he was like, okay, I'm ready for you to practice your Islam. He didn't, there's something that he didn't know about me. I'm not even sure that he knows that or he knew that at all. I'm someone that I love to sing gospel songs. I love to sing gospel songs. I'm very sure that if he had known that about me, maybe he would have thought, oh, she probably has, something when it comes to that. The only thing I can remember is there was a day I was by the window in his room and I was singing. And I was singing a worship song. And then he flips the curtain like in shock. Like, is that you? Like, is that you? I just smiled and then I think I stopped the song or something. So we fell apart, not because he did not want me to be a Muslim, because it was very glaring at that time that my parents, especially my mom, would not support, and I think he had, his own reasons. Everybody have their reasons. That was why we fell apart. But instead of me as a young girl to sit back and really think about the relationship and maybe think about what happened or why we fell apart, or maybe what do I need to do? What do I need to know in order to advance? I just took that as, okay, it really crushed me. For years, I hung on to that relationship for years. I can tell you, I hung on to it for years, and I believed that we were going to come together. Okay, I think after like 2-3 years or so, I met someone else. We started to date, a Christian again. But the funny thing about him, there was something funny about him, was that he was a Muslim. So he had a Muslim name. So I felt like, okay, this is good, because I just knew that something was drawing me away from, something beyond me was drawing me away from being a Muslim, you see. So the relationship started, and I felt like, okay, if we can make it through, we would. My parents probably would not even know, because they would not even bother asking, because I felt like, okay, the woman's side is where the marriage happens, so there will not be a need of exposing ourselves and all of that. You see, that's another wrong foundation to start a relationship. There are some things that I believe we should know before getting into relationship. That's why, we begin to have breakups, halfway, like breakfast. Sometimes some people did not have the intention to serve you breakfast.
Right.
Things did not just work out. But there are some people that they had motives within them for coming to you in the first place. And you are ignorant, naive, you don't know anything. So I believe that before we even go into any relationship at all, we should know ourselves, who we are, and what we want. Then That one is one thing that we should put aside. Now, the second thing that is very important, I'm going back to the Bible verse that you mentioned the first time, is to now judge who we are, what we want, by that Bible verse, to not be unequally yoked. It will help us to stay focused, because we know at the end of the day, the reason for all this is to, I'm talking about as Christians, because everybody, have reasons for going into relationship. Yes, some people they're just like, the guy has money now, let me just date him and collect his money. That is a motive there, right there, that has nothing to do with, what we are talking about. We're talking about having relationships that will work, that will serve us. Yeah. So I didn't learn what I was supposed to learn at the right time, until, things started falling on each other. And then I became a mom, or should I say I became an imaginary wife, before I started to like really look at myself, and I'm like, who am I? Where am I going? What do I want? Then I now started to realize that even if I didn't know who I was or where I was going, if I had at the palm of my hands that Bible verse, and I was studying, and I kept it like a bell ringing in my head every time, and I understood it, there are probably many traps I would not have fallen into, because I would have known that, this is not it. By the time I look at the person and judge the person, this is not it. So I feel like before we get into relationships, we should really sit down first. But the world these days, there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure around us, when we feel like, my friends are having boyfriend, I don't even have a boyfriend. I don't have a relationship. That's how mine really started. Okay, let me say, after the guy that I dated and really loved, after we fell apart, I didn't date anybody for, let's say, about 2-3 years. I was like really hoping and praying and wishing that everything will fall back in place. But at some point, I began to like look at myself and say, I'm not growing any younger. Hey, I'm not growing any younger. Like, I'll tell you, the pressure was like, look at my age. What if I now meet a guy now, and then the guy hears that I've not, been intimate with anybody in my life? Would they not run away from me? Like, would they not say that, what's wrong with this one? Well, what am I going to do with this kind of girl? So I wanted to date because I felt like I needed to advance in my life. See, I'm telling you, Aderonke, I had books. I used to write, little things about what I want in my life and everything. I had prayer points. I had like long-term goals and short-term goals. One of my prayer points then, I'm going to tell you that this now, I'm looking at myself, I'm like, I was stupid. My prayer point then was like, God, I want a relationship that is working, that will advance. There was no specific, you see, there was nothing specific. So this guy came along, the one I talked about being a Christian but had a Muslim name. He came along and we started dating. And I started learning. I started learning. The reason why I would not say that I got served breakfast from him was because there were many things that he had done. But because my prayer point, remember I said, I want something that is working. I want to make anything work, because I do not believe in love anymore. I'm telling you, I was with this guy and I was always thinking, I'm praying that the other guy would come back to his senses and then we would have, a good relationship.
Mm.
So things started to happen. This other guy now, I did not care about love, you see. I did not even care. I was not interested. Love, what's my business with love? What do I want to do with love? Let's just date now. Let's see whether we can move on. You know, I was not under pressure. A 23-year-old under pressure for what? And I'm not the type of person that wants a guy to that is looking for a guy to buy me stuff. I was not trying to please anybody. I was just doing it because I felt like it was the right thing to do. At my age, I should be in a relationship, yeah.
Right.
Even though I didn't know why I should be in a relationship. I just felt like at my people who advance in their life. That is kind of advancement. I date somebody, if he works out, we get married. Excuse me. We get married and then we move on with our life. I did not understand that this person could be going in a direction that I'm not going.
Right.
We started dating and things started to happen. I was being served different type of meals in this relationship, but foolish of me, or naive, the naive girl in me, I was not interested in seeing those things. I was not interested in seeing those things, for what they were. Or I did not feel like, oh, these things are, signs that, they call red flag and all of those things. I didn't see it like that. I was just like, okay, what? But so, he proposed to me actually. He bought a ring, he proposed to me. And then I said yes, hoping to, continue our lives. I used to feel like even though I didn't love this guy, we'll work it out. Life is life. Love, who love help? I had already loved someone and then it didn't make any sense. It didn't happen. I waited and waited, it didn't happen. Even though I was still out, I'm telling you now, let me confess, I would go on Facebook because we were friends on Facebook. I'll go on Facebook, I would look at his pictures, I would like some of them, just trying to like keep conversation alive with him so that maybe the day that he gets back to sex, he will know where to find me. At least let me send that message on Facebook. All of that, I'll tell you, was already a mess. It was a whole mess. I did not really know what I wanted in a man. I did not know what a man should be doing, in my life. I was just there doing life. But I think the time came when the relationship had to end. All of these things are things I wrote down in my book. Yeah. The time came when the relationship had to end because I started to feel like I am stupid. I was not I stopped being interested in trying to just do life, was it because I remember one Whitney Houston song that used to ring in my head that I think that was the guide to break up with the guy at that time. It's not right, but it's okay. I'm gonna make it. And there's a particular line in that song like that I always have in my head. I'd rather be alone than unhappy. So I felt like, what's the point of being in a relationship and then giving myself problem when I can be alone and be happy with myself? So again, just like I took that song as a guide, if I had the right teachings, if I had the right things in my mind to use to design or like the right frame in my mind, it would have been different. It would have gone. Some people are lucky because just like I've learned now the hard way, I'm very sure that anybody that is willing to listen under my watch will not make such mistakes again. You see? That's why I said some people were lucky. They had the right people at the right time to tell them, and they listened. Some people don't get to listen. Right. But I am one person that I know that I used to listen. So if I had people to tell me. I would listen. I was just doing, when, like when a car does not need to use so much fuel to move, and they'll say it's going free. Then your boss will say, "Oh, that free," something like that. That's how I was going. I was going with no prior experience. Some people, before they had this kind of experiences, they had been into different types of relationship.
Right.
They didn't learn. So, see, I believe that our parents, or we now, that were, because I'm a mom of two boys, we need to do our work. We need to see, we need to like let them know certain things, because I believe that essence is very important in anything that we're doing. And if we can get the essence right, then we are bound, the essence of whatever we are doing right, and we stick to it, so we're bound to be successful at it. So I was just going free like that with my relationship or with my dating life. I was just going free. I had nothing to. I know that I'm not a wayward girl. I was never wayward. I like just loved to do. I never looked for a guy, or I never was like, oh, I want a guy that's date me and just spoil me and take care of me. I was never like that. I just felt like things should just go a certain way. That was my mindset. That was a very level-headed, let me use it like that, person. And it's not like I'm saying that I was level-headed because I like got it right. I feel like some things just didn't come my way. You see, some things didn't come my way. And I also knew that I had fear, or I just had some type of fear that kind of like guided me in not like just hopping around. But I can tell you, I'm not saying that those that were hopping around, they did the right thing, because they must have, been entangled with different things. Some people did not come out, alive. Some people did not. Some people, had different type of injuries on the way before they now finally got it right. But I feel like if we as parents can like do our work and guide our children, or even the people around us under our watch, that are willing to learn from people that have had past experiences, I believe that this serving breakfast thing, or doing the wrong, getting into the wrong relationship for the wrong reasons, and getting crushed and emotionally broken and all this, it will not happen. It won't be happening. It won't happen.
Yeah, but wait, let me say this. Yes, you with the point of parents having to guide their children, but it still boils down to the skills. Are they well skilled? Are they equipped with the right knowledge, with the right information? Because you and I know that you cannot give what you don't have. You can only give what you have. So for example, growing up for me as well, like of course my parents, both parents were educators, and they gave me, everything about my life is either I'm going to church or I'm going to school. You see, it's book for me. And my mom will always tell me, don't allow a man to touch you. My interpretation is touch you like hold your hand, like if you touch you like you, your life is destroyed. And also I always, when I'm always very, you see me, I'm always very hard when it comes to guys. I'm like, I frown my face, I'm like, I shut them up and all of that. Is as a result of the way my mom interpreted it. Yes, it was a wrong way, but then they never told us some certain things. Okay, when a guy did this to you, report, be vocal about it. They only put the fear. But now let's look at this generation, the parents we have now, right? Our parents today, and is that they don't have the right information. You see, those ones that are getting into relationship for wrong reasons, they're still going to give birth to another generation, and they have not learned from their own mistakes. They are going to give.
Exactly. And it gets worse. Instead of it to get better,
yes,
it gets worse.
the circle keeps, we keep replicating the circle. it goes on and on, generation over generation after generation. So I think you see, like this session we are having, I want the reason, the goal for me is actually to bring people to the place of self awareness. So we don't say, if I had known better, I would have done things differently, right? Okay, we get that, right? But can we stop living in ignorance and start seeking knowledge? We have phone now. Rather, we'll use our phone to stay on some stuff that doesn't edify our own
Social
spirit,
media.
right? So yes, social media is a tool, right? But then you have to be able to sieve. Do you know how to sieve information? I can be on social media, on Facebook, I'm scrolling. When you open your mind, even when I see the post, I just scroll, like, no, this is not the kind of information I want to soak into my own spirit, because I believe that what I hear, what I see becomes part of me, you see. So, but then I just wanted to point out how that, see, it's not, yes, maybe they want to, but they only give what they have. You see, if they have nothing, they will give nothing.
I agree with you.
Okay.
I agree with you because my parents, just like you said, your mom, anything about boys is like the French people will say, is interdit. He's like, it's impossible. Don't even bring that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Stay safe. Be on your lane. Anybody
Mm-hmm.
talks to you. Me, I remember when I got into the university, 100 level, I went back home. My mom, she sat me down and took my phone and she said, "Oh yeah, everybody that is registered on this your phone. Oh yeah, start telling me who they are. If she found any boy's name, I have to explain. I need to have a tangible. So that, I think those kind of relationships with my mom created the fear in me, and then took my mind away from actually learning. You see, if we can have conversations with our children, it's not really like teaching. Okay, from our own experience now, it's not really like really teaching it. They believe, the older generation, they believe that it's better not to talk about it. But the generation that we are in today, it's even better when you start telling at as early as 10, 11, maybe like 5, 7 years ago, I would say 13. But now I'm telling you, as early as 10, 11, start talking about relationship so that your child will know that, crushes, maybe secondary school crush, can become something that can destroy you if you don't know, if you're not really like looking at it with the right kind of eye. What do you want? You see, what are you actually doing? If my mom had sat me down and say, now you are in school, oh, if boys come and meet you, try to like look at them, talk to them, because see, Yoruba people say, kò sígbà tí má kú ò ní kú. It will happen. But when it's about to happen, are you ready? Are you doing the right things? Because there's no time. See, we went from don't talk to boys. We went from that to, I'm telling you with my mom now, we went from don't talk to boys to, okay, when she found out I started dating somebody that, did not fit her own description of who I should be dating, like the Christian. We went from that. Then because of the heartbreak I had and everything, I was not dating anybody for so long. And then I think as at 24, 25, my mom started behaving like I was under a spell of, why are you not dating anybody? Why are you not seeing anybody? Those kind of things, especially with someone that don't have the right, mindset. Maybe they were not, like you said, maybe they did not have, is what they have, they can give you. They believe that, okay, wait, let's think about it. How can somebody go from don't talk to boys to they don't talk to boys from a certain age to a certain age, then you now just flip the next page and you're like, why is she not even dating anybody? Is she supposed to just, am I supposed to just like transform if we had been talking? There are many reasons, there are many things that we can use as materials, as tools to educate our children. It could be a movie.
Absolutely.
Yes, it could be a movie. My dad was never really the talking type, but I can tell you that I remembered one or two or three things that he would pick out from a movie that we had seen together as a family. And then he would just say one or two things, then it will stick. But I think maybe if he was the so much talking type, maybe he would have, really seen those things. The man now is all about providing for the family. He'll just go his own. And then he comes back in the evening and then we're sitting together after dinner, watching something. I remember my dad saying one night that, no, a woman's love for a man has to be lesser. Wow. Yeah, he said he's a man. He said the man have to love you like 70%, and you'll give him like 40%. He was not even judging it based on 60-40 or the 100%. He was saying from your own side, from your 100% love that you have, at least you should love your husband 40-50%. And then he should love you from his own 100%. He should love you like 70-80%. That's the way, because I think we were just seeing a movie that night or something. You see, when we begin to, because as children, we begin to absorb things, you see.
Yeah.
If you're in a home whereby your dad was hitting your mom, and your mom did not, fight back in any way, maybe not hitting him back, but like acting as if this is all shades of wrong, that child will begin to feel like it's a normal thing.
Yeah.
It happened to me in the sense that when I started dating the father of my children, he had been around. I had known him for a while before I even started dating the other guy that proposed to me. We had been friends. Maybe we were never close friends, but we talked, and as the relationship started to advance, because we started to date after like maybe 2 months after I ended things with the other guy. That's when we started to date. I feel like he started coming close to me, and then he knew at the point where I was, separated with the other guy. So I think it was like the perfect chance to like sleep in his own intentions and everything. The relationship started. As at that point, I did not still learn my lesson. I did not still sit down and feel like, what do I want in a man? I'm telling you, I was so love struck with my first love that I was still thinking that this is for me. It's going to happen someday. It will happen. I was love struck, and we started the relationship, and everything went so fast. Everything went like before I knew it. I'm telling you, before I knew it, I was already thinking of starting a family with him without him proposing to me, without us having, doing the things properly. Because I felt like, okay, I'd known this guy, he has good intentions, he cares about my work, he would help me sometimes to deliver my cake orders, he would support my business. We just started moving so rapidly like that. Like I said, my life was basically going on a free level without really being shaped with, specific, expectations. I should expect this. And I'm going to top it with, let's really know ourselves. Let's know ourselves. Let's be aware of who we are within, our worth. and then inclining it with God's word as to guidance towards, having a, safe and good relationship is just the way to go. It's just the way to go. Because I was just jumping. I was proceeding from one. I was just jumping, from one fry pan to another fry pan, and I did not feel hot because I was still carrying the pain of. I was making my decisions based on the fact that there's love. Love is not real. Love does not exist. Like, how could I have been so connected with this person, and then at the end of the day, it didn't work out? How? So that's just, yes, maybe they don't have what they're supposed to teach us. Maybe they just live their life. I mean, our parents now. Maybe they just lived their life by they were modest, and they eventually found someone and decided to lead their lives together. She gets.
Yeah.
Maybe it worked for them. But the world is rapidly evolving. Like, the world is rapidly evolving. And we cannot erase the fact that there are people from different background, different home, with different teachings, with different mindset, with different expectations. And we raise our own children. They are so innocent in their thoughts. They don't want to hurt anybody. They're just modest. Me, I came to the conclusion that being a good girl is not the ticket to landing the perfect man. You have to be intentional. You have to know where you're going. You have to know what you want. If not, you will fall into the hands of a man that he knows what he wants, and he knows what he wants to do with you. That's my experience with the father of my children. He knew what he wanted. Very experienced man. He knew what he wanted, and he knew what he wanted to do with me. But I, on the other hand, I felt like, I found someone that really likes me, and then we can do life. He can take care of me. He's capable of taking care of me. So I thought. But things that I expected to fall in place. Okay, you're dating someone. Even if he's like the kind of person that did not want to do the proposal thing. There are ways now. Like my elder brother, he knew. Let me expose him a little. He knew that he was going to marry this girl. They had talked about it. They had, even picked the date for introduction. So I went to my brother's house, and I saw him planning how to propose to his wife. And I'm like, hello, we have picked date for introduction. What are you doing? He said, I must do this proposal. I must ask her. I must actually ask her. I must, I must take that question, because he had the understanding of what he wanted. And so him putting himself in that, position, that situation, it proves to the lady even more that this person wants to do life with me. In my own case, it wasn't like that. My own case wasn't like that. And I did not even care, frankly speaking. I did not even care. I just wanted to, I think everything will fall in place. We will be fine. And then I started dancing. I was in a fry pan, but I started dancing. And why I started dancing in the hot fry pan frying, was because as I grew older, I started to understand some things more, things that I should have known when I was much younger. You see, I should have known these things when I was much younger. It would have helped to guide my life. But I was already in a serious relationship. Things started happening that opposed the things that I started to the things that I thought should be. And then when I speak up in this relationship, the problem begins to start. How can you be speaking up? You've always felt comfortable in this kind of environment. So what's the drama?
Mm.
I started to die slowly. It was killing me, killing my mindset, killing my focus, killing my relationship with God, killing everything, basically everything around my life. Before I got to a point where I had, I'll call it an awakening. I had my awakening. I started to know that this is all shades of wrong. This is all shades of wrong. Am I going to live my life, my entire life? I have just one life and I already have two boys. Is this how I'm going to live my entire life? Like, am I going to live my life like this? I started to really understand that this is a matter of choice. I took my stand, and then my story began to change for good. When I began to take my stand, when I began to like take my stand in my own life, I began to really know who I am. Like, why am I even in this situation? Why am I in a relationship? It was the level of naivety ate me up to the point that I did not realize that the foundation of this whole thing was getting even worse, moving from bad to worse. I was in a relationship whereby I did not, it's right now I feel embarrassed to even say it, but I'm just going to say it. The person I was dealing with knew what he wanted. He met my family, he met everybody. I met his brothers and, steps. His dad is late. I never met his mom. I had my first child. I lost her. I still didn't meet his mom. We talked about it. He'll be like, he knows what he's doing. I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, whatever this is, it became a problem for me. But when I lost my first child, I lost her on the second day after delivery. The intention or the plan, what I thought we had planned was that after the delivery of this child, we're going to have, the wedding ceremony and everything. I was finally satisfying my mom because he is a Muslim. I lost the child and I went from the hospital to becoming a wife. From the hospital, discharged from the hospital. And my bag, everything was packed. And nobody talked about the ceremony that was supposed to happen. Or the rites, the things that we're supposed to do so that we're going to properly join together. Nobody talked about it. I just knew that they came to pick me in the hospital, and all of my things, my clothes, my, everything that we had packed, prepared, that after the wedding, we're going to carry to my husband's house. Everything, like, let's say 70% of everything was put in his boots. And then he drove me to his house, and that's how I became a wife. And he says, at that time, I was so damaged because of the loss of that child, to the point that all I wanted that time was another pregnancy. I wasn't thinking, I wasn't focusing. I just wanted that loss to be replaced by a hope of another child coming again. I was not looking at my relationship. If I had all of the right teachings, I don't care, I would have taken a step back to really look at the things that I experienced even during the pregnancy. This man walked up to me before the pregnancy of the child that I lost. He walked up to me and said, he came to my house to visit as usual. And we started talking, and he said, he wants us to start a family. He wants to have a child. I was stupid. I should have asked, do you want to marry me? Do you want to do life with me? I didn't ask those questions. I just automatically thought that someone that wants to start a family, someone that wants to have a child, wants to do life with me. So, okay. At that time, I was already 26, going on 27. And my I didn't want to tell my parents because I felt like they had seen me walking about with engagement ring, and I ended the relationship. They knew that I had ended the relationship with that person. But even as at that time, I did not have, my dad, maybe he didn't have the words, because my dad, he was not really educated. He went into, when I say educated, I don't mean, like, I mean academic education. He didn't go the line of, studying in university and all of that. He went in the line of, training. So he focused on the kind of training that he needed to be an automobile engineer. He was doing fine. And so because of that, because he felt like he missed, what he could have, had from academic education, he wanted us to study and really make it in life, be successful, in our careers and all of that. Because he has two other siblings, and amongst the three of them, he's the only one that chose the path of, would I call it, what's the word I'm looking for? This training. I'm trying to find the particular word for it, because he actually did his training, he did his training with Mandelas, and he started up his own company, and it blew up. So he was successful in, but all he knew was everything about cars. You see, he did not have vast knowledge about life and different things. When we go into the university, they start teaching us different things. In 100 level, you're going to do a bit of everything. You start to like, it's different from when I just want to, I just want to go for a
Master
vocational
class,
training.
going for a master class, a seminar, a
Yes,
workshop,
you
and
understand. I just want to go for a vocational training on this
yeah,
thing, be
yeah.
good at this thing and just do it. My dad
Mm.
wanted us to, be successful. He felt like he was different amongst his siblings. He wanted us to work, wear that white collar, this thing, and feel proud that even if he didn't go to school, we, his children, he trained us to, study, and we're successful. So I couldn't tell my dad that I was ready. Even as I was wearing the engagement ring of the other guy, I couldn't tell him that I was ready for marriage, because he felt like you should have something for yourself. Maybe he didn't have the right words, you see, but he felt like you should have something. You should be able to take care of yourself. You should have something.
Independent,
Do you
yeah,
understand? To an extent.
yeah.
So when this guy, the father of my children, started to talk about starting a family, having children for him, I didn't want to take it to my dad. This time, I felt like this is it. My mom does not want me to be, to marry a Christian, and I'll just go with this guy. He wants to start a family. My mom likes him because he's a Muslim. Let's just do it. I prayed about it. Maybe as I thought was okay, was enough to pray, and I was like, let's do it. I literally called him on the phone. It didn't just happen. The pregnancy did not just happen. I called him on the phone and I said, I'm ovulating. Let's meet. I'm telling you. And that was how the first pregnancy happened. I had the child. I became a wife that has not yet met the mother of her husband. I started doing wifely duties. And then one day, while I was waiting to get pregnant again, I was really working towards, because I was so sad. I was devastated. I didn't expect that it would happen to me. I had a child. She was fine. And then she started to cry, and then they took her away from me. And then she didn't come back. I felt like my life was about to start. Oh, we have a wedding to plan. While I was pregnant, so many things happened. I saw that this guy did not keep to his words. we talked about having introduction, mini introduction before the pregnancy starts to show. And then my parents gave him the list for traditional, everything that was necessary to bring for the traditional ceremony. But I noticed that this guy that would come to my house, like almost every day or every other day, started to come. The moment I became pregnant, started to come once in 2 weeks.
Wow.
I had not told my dad of the pregnancy. My mom knew, but I had not told my dad of the pregnancy because I wanted it to be like 3 months. I wanted him to know that, look, I'm serious about this. Like, don't try to tell me about being independent or having what or what. That was my pitfall. Maybe if I had told him, Dad, see, I'm dating this person and he wanted, maybe he would have advised me. You see where the lack of closure with our parents, lack of good relationship, how it shoots us in the leg. Even though I didn't know what I wanted, he would have thought like, this thing is not normal. Don't do it like this. Let us do the right things first before you guys start thinking of. Because my dad married my mom honorably before my mom. He did everything that he was supposed to do. So in my family, I can almost say that I kind of like changed the normal to abnormal. Because I came from a family whereby my dad married my mom honorably. They had a wedding. They wore white. Even though it was not the English wedding dress, they wore white. My dad paid her bride price. My mom had my brother. You see, everything was like planned. The man knew that he wanted to. So those things that I was thinking was normal. Would have never been normal with my dad. He would have told me, no, we have to do this first and this first and this first. But because I was trying to avoid him telling me, try and build yourself first, I decided to move away from his own this thing. And then I got pregnant. I called him that afternoon. He came to our house that day and he talked. And then he left. And then I was like, I thought about it, like, I'm ovulating today. Let me see if. And then I called him. I went to meet him. And then we went to meet him, and then it happened. I had a child. Long story short, after I lost that child, I should have sat down to really think about all the things that happened wrongly while I became pregnant. Things that were supposed to fall in place. We had talked about the introduction happening before I started to show, but I was not able to get him to concur to the idea of having the introduction until I was 1 month before my due date. So you can imagine pregnancy that was supposed to I should have been feeling like a wife already. I was pregnant in my father's house. My dad did not like it. My dad was disgusted about the fact that, how can I be pregnant in my house? But do you know what? The man, he held himself together. He took it. I never even knew. He did not show it. But you can always tell, who you've been living with. You can always tell. How could you do this? When I said it that day, that I'm pregnant, my dad looked at me like, he looked at my mom, and then he dropped his shoulders in disappointment. He looked at my mom because my mom already knew, you understand? My mom did not feel the same way he was feeling, or my mom did not think of, having it the way he would have had it, So he just said, okay. And I would see him every day. You just struggle a smile. And then you just try to make me feel better whenever I'm not feeling okay. But this man stopped coming. The introduction did not happen until 8 months, exactly 8 months pregnant. And when the introduction eventually happened at Deronke, he didn't come with his mom and he did not even tell me that his mom was not going to be there.
Wow. Wow.
That's when I started to know that I had problem. I had a big problem, but I did not even realize because he kept giving perfect excuses at the right time. My mom is critically ill. I should have told you. How come I did not even know that your mom had been critically ill? I should have been the one that would have made that excuse for my parent. My parent expected to see everyone that was important in your family. So automatically I became a wife. And my life started going like that. Okay. I wanted another baby. I didn't think about how everything went, the drama. And even up until the time that I had my child, he never for once acted as if he was preparing the traditional at least before I had the baby, I should have got one or two signals that we're having a wedding, right? I should have had one or two signals. It just only seemed like it was me and my parent that were kind of doing some little plans.
Wow.
But I can tell you that when I lost the child, I did not remember all of those things. I wanted another child. I did not even sit down to think. I was too heartbroken to think about my life or the relationship that was happening before my eyes. So I became an imaginary wife to a man that knew exactly what he was doing. And that's how everything started to happen. It's a long story. I hope people that will get hold of the book will be able to make sense of it and also pass the information to younger generation that it's important for you to have a prior knowledge of who you are, what you want, and also align it with the laws of God to have a good life.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. Well, that is your life of how many years in just few seconds. You shared it in just how many minutes with us. Um, that is deep. That is um it's kind of it's so it's sad, emotional, but I believe that you're sharing it from the place of I was blind, but now I can see.
Yes. And I'll definitely do things differently because now I know more than ever, I have to model everything I want everything I want my children to be, the kind of life I want them to have. Because if I stayed, well, separation from the father of my children is a story for another day, right? If I had stayed, my point is if I stayed, because I stayed, even I stayed, I'm one very determinant kind of person that when I decide to do something, I want to see it come through. I didn't make the decision because, I wanted to chicken out someday. I know that I have that knowledge that life is tough. So that's the way I was viewing it, that everything will fall in place. But when I started to have my awakening, I realized that if I stayed in this relationship, my children are going to have it tough with understanding relationships and what it should be. I also, understood that it was all shades of wrong. I should not be I'm not supposed to be living like this. I should be happy. Things should go the way they're supposed to go. Those are my two reasons why I just decided to. I danced around. I did not even see it as a possibility. It's not like I did not feel like I could do it. I didn't see it as a possibility because I felt like we don't go back on our we don't go back on our decisions. We don't go back on our promises. How can I say I'm going to be with this man? But I decided to start to do the right thing for myself when I realized that I'm the only one in this relationship. What am I doing? I'm the only one here. Is this how I want my children to see life? So, okay, I want them to just be doing whatever they like. And then they'll meet the right person for their lives, and then they'll just go. And they're not there. And everything is just, you just normalized wrong.
Right.
This is what will happen. You will normalize wrong. Right. And then they'll feel like it's normal. Like, my mom used to live like this, so why are you behaving like?
Yeah. And we have many of these kids, these children now, these men, these women now grown up and start modeling that same template, that they have adopted from their parent. And you see, just while you were sharing that, I remember a conversation I was having with someone here. This person is a Belgian, and she said something about one of our friends that got separated from a marriage of 22 years. 22 years. I'm like, what happened? And she said that they got, as in, they do everything together. They have one life together, one friends, one family, one everything, one job, one everything. So they come to that place of boredom. They come to that place, maybe the other person like, I'm not even living my life. Now they wake up one morning to see that I'm living your life, not my life. This was saying, me too, I'm living your life, not my life. You see, you talking about having to know who you are, the self-identity, be self-aware. People don't know their negotiables and non-negotiables. You see, they just have this interpretation, this mindset of, oh, after school, I'm now 23, I'm 26, I'm ripe for marriage, I should just go in and all of that. Some people will get, I'm almost going to 40, I need to get married, I need to have my own kids and all of that, without having to think about this. But this lady said something. She said, the generation of our parents, this is a white person, a Belgian, said the generation of our parents, they did relationship marriage wrongly. She said they will stay in marriage even when they are not happy. And their excuse is that they stay because of us, the children. Now, when we grow
These
up...
are children that, sorry to cut you, from the age of, as at the age of 16, they decided to live their life. They don't, at that time, they're not even looking at you. Right. They're looking outside because they've had enough of inside. But if they had the right, teachings, they would unconsciously go back to status quo in their mind. Right. To know, to recognize, to do things the right way. Yeah. I was writing, I want to read this thing to you. I was writing something about yesterday I was writing something about raising world changers. And one of the things that I wrote down that that is in line with what we're talking about is, let me read it to you. Raise children with discernment. They will have wisdom and ability to recognize truth from lies, good from evil, and most importantly, they will understand the people and situation around them beyond the obvious. If we had some kind of prior background, knowledge, we would, it will, even if for somebody who does not have discernment, what has been built in you will trigger your sense of discernment. You see, what has been built in you, maybe teachings and experience and things that you have been around. When you're around the wrong things, it will trigger your sense of discernment to know quickly that no, you just not feel comfortable with it, and then you know what to do. Many of us don't have it like that. So what you said about your Belgian friend talking about how their parents lived their marriages is like instilling a, like, let's just say, status quo. That's the mindset.
Right.
Just instilling, just dropping that model in them. So they're not really looking for anything. It is now that I've seen length and depth of the kind of relationship that I was into, that I now know that, firstly, majorly, relationship is about companionship. It's about building together and living, a life of purpose. If I want to become something, except that I don't want to become anything, and I'm just living my life, oh, it's a good day, tomorrow will come, and I'm not really expecting anything from life or expecting to be anything. I can date anybody, and whatever they serve me will be fine. But I'm growing, my mindset is growing. I want something out of life. I want to become something. And I'm in a relationship with the wrong person that is going another direction. Or that has another kind of life that is already living.
Yeah.
How do you want to bring that kind of person into your own?
Yeah.
It's not going to work.
Yeah.
So they were living, that's funny. They were living each other's life. This one is living for this one. That one too is living. So they were just managing each other. And they got to a point. And do you know why they eventually broke up? Because they've already seen too much of breakups in the world that made them to feel comfortable with, like, oh, I beg. If they were living in the world of those days, their mindset, their discernment will not be triggered to feel like this is not okay. This is wrong. They'll just feel like, this is marriage. This is what happens in marriage. I live for my partner. We live for each other.
Yeah.
We really need to do better. Yeah. Because relationship, it determines a lot of things. In fact, it determines 90%. Who we get involved with determines the trajectory of our lives. It determines how we're going, where we are going, where we're going to end. English people say, show me your friend, I'll tell you who you are. It's the same thing. Show me who you are moving with, I'll tell you where you're going. I'll tell you your direction. To avoid heartbreaks and, unnecessary.
To marry for, let's even talk about to marry for purpose. You see, like marriage, this marriage thingy, relationship thingy, people, you say, if a purpose of a thing is not known, right? A business is inevitable. You don't even, why do you want to do this thing in the first place? Are you just doing it? Why? What's the why behind it? So let's talk now. I want you to now that you know better, like you've learned from this thing, you see now what you are able to do. The first thing I'm hearing is that having to sit back now, you are not even dating now, you are trying to even go back to look at your own relationship pattern. You see, to take inventory of your own
Exactly.
mistakes, right? Okay, this first one, I was with this person and I didn't know that love could ever end like this, true love. So I was still holding on to that first love. So every other person I'm meeting doesn't
It,
matter. You see, I
it
just want to,
just changed everything for me.
yeah. So now you went when you even met the father of your children, it's kind of like a 2 month after breakup from 2 months apart, and all, you jump
No
into that.
reflection, nothing.
Yes, and this is what we do most of the time. People deal before they deal before they heal, right? They just pamper. They don't take inventory. What happened? Where did I go wrong? What went wrong? And all of that. What can I do better? What can I stop doing? What can I do more? And do less. And all of those questions. Or do I need help aside from me even reflecting? Do I need to seek professional help? Do I need to seek wise counsel? Who do I need to talk to? What book do I need to read? Do I need to read someone else's story? Just like do I need to learn from? But people just feel like no, they are their own expert on their own. They know better. What is in our relationship? I love you, talk your own, and all of that.
Things will fall in place,
And that.
Things
So
never
now,
fall in place. If we're not intentional about our lives and what we want out of life, we're never going to get anything out of life. We'll just be getting crumbs and we'll just be getting crumbs. We have to be intentional. Like it's about intentional everything. That's why I always advocate for look at the essence. If you don't even have any direction, what is the essence of try to understand the essence of this thing before you get into it. Try to what do I want? What do I need? What does this person want? Are we in alignment? This person's values, can I work with it? Because when people come into our lives, there's nobody that doesn't study anybody. Some people like I did not take note of. People study you. They know who you are. Some people they already know your weaknesses. They know what they want from you, and they know how they are going to manipulate it to manipulate your character or your ways, who you are. If you're not watching, they know how. If you're not watching, they know how to drive you. They know how to. So we need to have that background. We need to like advocate for that background of self-knowledge. Knowing your purpose. What do you want? These are things that we're supposed to use to judge how we move along with people. Maybe romantic relationships, or even just partnerships in business or anything at all. It works. It works as well. Intentionality is okay. I know who I am. I'm seeing this person. And you see, it's so easy now that you can read intentions through actions. You can read intentions through words spoken, through a suggestion that somebody gave while you're having a very important discussion. You can read their intention, by just trying to like think about what they said, the response they gave. That's how red flag is noticed. That's how you notice a red flag. You can tell that somebody does not appreciate your worth with the kind of statement they make. It might not be pertaining to you. In fact, you don't even need, at the time of maybe courtship, you don't need to judge them as how they view you or how they perceive, how they relate with you. Because someone that has intentions or has ulterior motives could be pretending. How about how they relate with others? How about how they talk about their friends' relationships? How about how the suggestion they gave, or the comment they passed when the both of you just finished watching a movie together and you had a different point of view? That's how you know. It's not when they come to you, they be like, oh, but you're my babe. Oh my goodness. Oh, but I will never do that. No. It's there, it's right, it's like it's right there. I'm telling you, from hindsight, I look at my life and if I start counting from 1 to 50, I would have 50 reasons why I should not have gone into that relationship, or taking that step with the father of my children.
Mm.
Because of my children, I'm not allowed to regret. Yes, because they're everything. They're everything. They're like a blank cardboard that is about to, have. So I lost one, but I have two that I can actually like help them to be even way better, you see, than what I thought or what I expected their father to be. I lost one, but the world is about, with God's under God's watch, with giving myself to wisdom. I lost one, but the words of two people are about to gain two. Like, do you understand? So we should be intentional. I'm not going to say because they are boys, or so they don't need, because they will figure it out. They're the ones that, just no. If we today are needing good men, and if we see with our eyes that there are people like us, female women like us, who actually meet and find good men, that means some people did what they were supposed to do. You see? It's just that maybe they're not as much, or maybe we didn't,
Right.
So
And also, just because we don't have that right information from our parents as adults doesn't mean we shouldn't seek for it. We shouldn't seek for knowledge. We need to always sort out after knowledge, so we can grow. And also, do you know that what I've come to see with us, especially in the African setting, is this is how my mom did it. This is how we do it in our own place. And then you talked about the world evolving, yet we want to just hold on to that
you
ideology of,
see,
20 or whatever years, that century, that we don't even know who invented it, who came about the rules and all of that. So I think it's also important that, being intentional also means that you have to be
to
open to
learning.
learn, to relearn, to unlearn. You have to be able to learn some
I've done
things.
a lot of that. I've done a lot of unlearning. I'm telling you, I was fighting with myself. I had to win that fight with myself, that this is not normal. You can't live like this. Like, I had to tell myself, I had to even like nurture my own worth. I had to nurture my own worth to the point that I felt like it's okay to do this, because you carry so much, and then this person is like, he's not dragging you down. He's completely distracting you. Like, you don't even have the time, the opportunity, the means to even evolve as a person. I was suffering on all levels. And when I started to really understand my situation, sometimes I'll sit down and cry. I'll be like, how did I even get here? How did I get from just being a young, good girl, naive? How did I get here? I'm not saying I was so good, you know, that I'm not saying that I did not make mistakes, you know, but I'm saying that being a good girl did not give me the direct ticket, the golden ticket to just, the world is big. There are a lot of people everywhere. If I had the right information, if I had the right knowledge, my goodness of a girl would have met or would have understood that yeah, some guys are not good, or some things that there's some things that you don't need. There's some traps you cannot fall into. You have to be careful about certain things, about doing certain things. My goodness, well, I was just good. A good thing is attractive to everybody. The good person will want a good thing as well. And who told you bad person will want a bad person? They will want a good person now.
Absolutely.
So they can comfortably be their bad and without anybody to bother them or anybody to disturb them. I want to share this because I know that time is running out of our side. I was praying after my breakup. I was really praying, believing God for, you know, a new level when it comes to my relationship status. And I just finished watching Dr. Miles Monroe talk about who a woman should marry. And I saw those things and I started to write them down. I said, these are the things I want from a relationship. At least now that I know, these are the things I want. Do you know what? I was praying that night. I just heard the voice of God tell me, you want this thing. I was like, you want the best. You want the best of the best. I was like, yes. You know, in my mind, I was answering like, yes, I deserve it. I've not really enjoyed anything in my life when it comes to relationship and all. So why not? Or do I not deserve it? And I continued praying. And the next thing I heard was I go back to everything that you wrote down. I opened the book back and I started to read them. And I heard again that, do you think that someone that is as wonderful as this, do you think that they will just want to settle for anybody? And I was still arguing. I'm like, I'm not anybody. I'm a good girl. And I started to remember how I even got here in the first place. Is being a good girl enough? Do you have all these qualities as well? Everything that you have written down, do you have it? You want this good, you want this gold, but are you capable of managing this gold if it is given to you? I did not feel unworthy, but I started to, in my mind, I started to prepare myself. Like my actions, when I'm talking, how I'm thinking, when I'm praying, everything I wanted. I started to take caution of those things. You see? I started to take caution of those things. And sometimes I'll go back to the book and read it, and I'm like, okay, I'm also working on my value. You know, you want a valuable man. How much value do you have yourself? Do you think a valuable man will want somebody that will come and sit in a sieve or in a basket? Someone that will just be draining and draining and draining and draining him. Is that how you want to be? You're supposed to have value yourself so that value means value continues to multiply.
Right.
If I look from the aspect and the side of the mindset of those rich people, I understand why they don't want their children to marry into a poor family. Because a poor family is seeing them as, oh, my savior, my saving grace. They just want to take and be and lavish and show that they are now better. But a rich family will think about multiplication, about continuously building something. So where's the blame for them? Where is the blame? I'm just a regular girl and I want to marry a prince, or I want to marry into a royal family. I have to begin to behave like royalty myself. I have to begin to learn their ways. I cannot just say, I'll take me for who I am now. Take me as I am, or I have nothing at all. What gives me the impression that it is okay for royalty to just hang with regular? It doesn't work like that. There are lots of things that we need to learn. It's about compromise. We need to be ready to unlearn, like you said, and drop some beliefs, some kind of thoughts that we have as understanding about life and how we should live our life. And ready to like dance to the tune of what we expect and what we want from life. It's like a give and take situation. You give life what you want life to give back to you. We can't be friends now and then. I'm giving you maybe 10 minutes, 20 minutes of my time. And then I just expect you, maybe I need something suddenly one day, and I expect you to like give me 24 hours. It's not because you're a wicked person that you cannot give me, it's because I am not factored into your day. I'm not factored into your life. You're not a wicked person, but you just don't have that time. There's not the investment that we have put into each other is not wide enough. If we begin to think like that when it comes to relationship, we'll begin to like know that it's important to draw out our values, even our personal values. Understand that, okay, for those who are living a purpose-filled life, who are not just saying, I'll just go to school and get that course now, and then I'll start working, and then, and I'll make money. If you're talking about living a life of purpose and, making a difference, it's no good area to take the wrong path when it comes to relationship. Because it will not only distract you, it will kill the possibility of any kind of positive transformation in your life. It will kill it. It will kill it.
Amen. Thank you very much. I think you've actually shared with us tips on how to make healthy choices, especially in matters that concerns our life, relationship.
Yeah.
And you talked about, you mentioned earlier on how to identify yourself, know yourself. It's very, very important. When you're able to know yourself, it helps you come to that place of worthiness. You know that you're worthy, that you are enough. You don't need a man to complete you. You don't need marriage to complete you. You don't need relationship to complete you. You don't need anybody's compliments to make you feel worthy. That is the very first step. Then you need to know what you want, out of life, out of relationship. And knowing what you want, you need to now ask yourself, this thing that you want, that you need in your life, do you have it yourself? Is this something you possess? You see, just like there was some years back, I wrote an article on, can you marry you? So you want a godly husband. Are you godly? Are you a godly sister? You want a wealthy partner. Do you yourself, do you have the ability and the capability and the capacity to maintain and handle wealth? So whatsoever you want in your partner, in that other person, you have to be sure that you yourself have it. If you don't have it, that you are on the journey of working towards it. So you're working on yourself. That is like you're
Exactly.
investing on yourself. For you, Nima, to come to that place to say that, you know what, you're talking now, you are not talking from a place of pain. You are not from a place of, you're well aware of, okay, your past, your errors, and you know, like, okay, I'm on the on that journey to becoming better, to becoming more fruitful, and to making life different, you see, especially for my children. You see, to give them that life that, you know, I didn't get to experience that much, but they have to know that, no, this thing that the world is becoming to say that is normal is not. Please, this is it, and trying to give them the right principle, the right tools to work with, you see. And it is you coming to that place of, okay, I really want to work on myself, and you are committed to your commitment with intentionality. So you say I've heard you talk about, you know, you are awake midnight, you are studying, you are writing, you are, you know, praying, you are doing all of this self-development, you see, on yourself. These are things that people don't want to do. They just want to cross-leg it and just wait for that Mr. Rich, you know, to just come, or that woman that is a boss lady to just come and say, I love you, and then we get married, and then things start unfolding. And
It just
even when they get,
happened. It's not going to
it doesn't
happen like
happen like
that.
that. No, if it's like that, then how about maybe when your mom gave birth to you, then you should have turned an adult instant. You see, so if it is like it's a journey, it all comes with
Things don't
process.
just fall in place.
So
Things
life will
don't
not
just
give
fall
you
in
what
place.
you want out of it. It's like you deserve, not you deserve what you have to go for it, and you have to go for it by you doing the work. Sometimes the work might be light, sometimes the work might require hard work, you see. But you have to make sure that even when it is painful, even when you are, you know, you are bleeding in your hand, that, you know, while you are climbing the mountain, you know, your hand is cracking, all that, that you don't quit. You have to just keep at it, because that is like, I want this, like, you see now, like, I'm sorry, like, before now, you know, we have different what's it called, mindset towards, you know, the kind of ideal my world, you know, those lists. No, my mind has to be like this, must see this list, but now for me today is different. I'm looking for something different entirely. You see, number one priority for me, like, does he love the Lord? Because that is very, very important. And not just love the Lord by saying I go to church. No, his life must reflect it. And it's not something I'm seeing just once in a, like, I must see that relationship he has with God. So some people, their own is, does he have money? You see, to some people, wait, does he carry, well, what's the inches down there? You see how many inch long and all of that.
And then they get into the relationship and they begin to find out that, wait, this is not normal now. You're spending money, but you're not even available. You know, everything begins to go like, this is how I thought it should be. It's the same thing as my own case. My own was not the case of money, but I just automatically assumed that somebody wants a child, we're starting a family, and then everything will fall in place. But as I started to grow matured in my mind, and I started to understand, you know, relationships and what it should be, we started going separate ways, started going apart. Even from the beginning, from the moment I tested positive for the pregnancy, everything started to turn different ways. I'm telling you, now I have two boys, and the first time I ever saw his mom was on a video call. And that was because I had my first son and she wanted to see the baby. We did not have a video call, even, okay, before I left, because I had my baby, my first child, the one I lost, I had her in 2016. From 2016 to the point where I became pregnant again in February 2017, I did not see her. We started to plan to travel. I did not still see her. There was even a time that I thought we were going to see her. I'm telling you, he took me somewhere else and tried to call his mom. He took me somewhere else to like his uncle or something like that, or his yeah. So he tried to call his mom to come and meet us there, and the mom said, "Oh, she has gone to her own work." I'm like, I don't understand. I thought you said this woman had not been well. How come she's going to her work? And at that time, when he took me, well, we're like maybe 1 month away or even 2 weeks, let me see, 2 or 3 weeks away from me coming to France. I've been in France now. This is my 7th year in France. And you know what? Something unusual again happened, whereby even my parents, they just accepted it. Nobody ever like said, now what's going on? Why is it that we have not even met his mom? Well, we live in the same Lagos. Something, it was just unusual. It was kind of out of the ordinary. Like he would come here to visit. I would be like, what's going on? Okay, we can have this wedding blessings in my own absentia. Just go and provide the right necessary things, and then when you get home, we can talk about how to do it. Then when I'm sorted out here, we can now do the normal. And then you'll be like, okay, I think it's the right thing to do. Then when he goes back home, lands in Nigeria, please don't tell me about that. That's what he says. He said that twice. Don't talk to me about that.
Wow.
Yes, that's what he said to me. My case was not the case of, oh, he's rich, oh, he has money, he has everything in place. My case was foolishness. There's a part in my book where I classify the decisions I make as foolish girl decisions. It was from that point everything started to like rumble and tumble. Everything started to go left and right. If only I had the company of even people that were doing the right things, even if they did not advise me, I will be able to see that why is this one's going this way. Another thing that shot me in the leg was I did not have friends like that. I didn't really have friends that I really talked to. I had 1 or 2 people, but not really, not really. We all had the same kind of mindset. Like, so how are they going to help me? How were they going to help me? But I'm grateful to God today because I have learned. I'm still learning. I'm still fighting with some kind of, I can tell you that I'm still fighting with some kind of decisions. But I know I am very proud of myself. I'm proud of where I am, proud of decisions I've made so far. And I'm beginning to gradually like have my life back. Like feel happy genuinely again. My life completely took a wrong turn, just because I made the wrong decision, the wrong choice of a partner. It's completely, I cannot even stress it any further. Like I can't stretch it too much. It cannot be overstretched that relationships is everything. They matter.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I love that part. People need to come to understand that, the decisions we make in that regard really, really matters. It changes everything. So, which is why it is very important that we learn to make the right call when it comes to relationship and the person we are choosing to marry. It is very, very important. Okay, so we're just going to come to the end of today's session. But before I leave us out on this episode, I would allow Nimat to just tell us, the final notes you want to share with our audience. So I've learned that we have to learn to know ourselves. We have to know what we want. We have to seek the right counsel, try to work on ourselves, learn not to compromise, take inventory when you have yourself served with breakfast, when they serve you breakfast. Take inventory. Don't jump into another relationship. Make sure you heal before you do. And
Absolutely, absolutely.
how you heal before you do. Most of you are like, well, I stayed out of relationship for 2 months, 3 months, and I think I'm better now. I think I'm in the right space. No, please make sure you get the right tool. And the right tool, the best way you could get a right tool, uncle, auntie, please seek professional counsel. Seek professional counsel. I always say this, they don't believe me. Your pastor is only going to be talking Bible and his own personal experience. But a
Yeah,
profession is equipped. He or she has been equipped with the right tool to help you navigate, your situation,
exactly,
and they will
exactly.
give you a tailor-made solution, you know, that is only designed for your own situation. Don't go and be meeting one friend. How they say, oh, how did you do your own? And all,
We're
because
all
no
unique and different in
situation,
our
yes,
ways.
no situations are this the same. No. So Nima, so we wrap up the session. Just tell us, what we would like our audience to leave with from today's session. Thank you.
Well, I would like, from my story so far, because I can only talk within my experiences and how I have grown. Just like we said, that everybody has their own unique. So whatever I give is not necessarily for everybody, but there are some major things that I have said that you have already listed. But from my own experience, I'm going to say that let's be intentional about learning.
What does that mean?
Intentional about learning before we get into anything, especially our relationships, about learning about the essence of this thing. What have like a scope of what you want from this thing and learn why you want it, so that you don't go after 5, 6, 10 years of a relationship of being with someone and say, I'm tired, they don't serve my need again. Let's be intentional and let's be considerate. And then there's one more thing that is very
Considerate
important.
about what?
Let's be considerate people. Let's be thoughtful,
Okay.
because so many of us we are selfish.
Right.
We want something, and what we want is what we want.
Right.
That's way. If we're not careful, that's way. You'll definitely find someone that is wiser than you, that feels like, okay, you want this, Abby. They don't have it, but they pretend like they have it just because they want you. So
Right.
when you are thoughtful and you are considerate, it will allow you to see the situation for what it is. You'll be able to see things for what they are. You'll not just be, closed-minded. I want what I want. Not really looking at other people's sides and, life like that. And another thing, the last thing I'm going to really talk about that I am a really loud advocate for is discernment. Discernment is so easy, but some people They have it, but they don't know that they have it. You see red flags, but you just assume that no, it's nothing. When you see something, I'm telling you, like I said the other time, if I begin to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'll get to 50, even more, of things that I saw that should have made me know that this is not, for me. This is not going to go down well. This is not going to end well. Relationship between me and this man. I should have known many things. I'm trying to find a very suitable example. One day, I went to visit him and we're just talking. And so he wanted to drop me back home. And I was like, oh, I want to have shawarma. And then he said, okay, he wanted to see his friend for something, business talk. And he went to her place. The woman is a married woman, sorry. A married woman. And then, of course, it's not like I had a clue, or I felt like maybe they were cheating, or he was cheating with her or something. No, it wasn't that. They were actually talking business. And then I was in the car. She's in a matrimonial. My husband was even around, so it's not like anything. They were talking in the compound. And then they stayed talking. I was hungry. They stayed talking for, I'm telling you, for almost 2 hours. I was sitting in the car. And I was waiting. They had, talked about the major business because they worked together for a long time. They had talked about the major thing they wanted to talk about. Others were just, one or two things here and there. Like I cannot imagine, I can't think of what business you are discussing for 2 hours. For 2 hours, you're discussing business. What are you discussing? Are you planning a project? No, we're just talking about, okay, I want to do this thing. Should I get you involved in it? Something brief. And they now turned business conversation into gist. So they continue to talk. So the lady saw him off after I had been in the car for over 2 hours waiting. The lady saw him off to her gate. And then she was like, oh my God, we left your woman in the car. Like, it totally skipped me. And I was just talking, she felt like guilty. That would have been nice if he had realized it and he did not give the kind of response that he gave. He said, no, don't feel bad. No, she's okay. I'm like, my heart sank. I was disappointed. I was like, she's okay. Like, he expects me to be okay. Sitting in the car, hungry for over 2 hours. She's okay. And we're going to buy shawarma. Shawarma that is not like take away just like that. Shawarma, you have to wait for them to like make it and everything. I saw those things. That this person did not value me. I saw it. He said he just did that like this. No, 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 no. She's okay. Oh, we're okay. That's what he said. And then the lady was like, okay. And then she went inside. Like, is it a business? It's not a business. So we need discernment to be able to notice red flags, to be able to see beyond the obvious, to sense beyond the obvious what that person is saying with their statements, with their actions, with their, the underlying meaning of that statement. What is the underlying meaning? It can tell you where you're going. Discernment is key.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, and the place of discernment comes with growth. It comes with growth when we keep working on ourselves, keep sharpening our spiritual lenses. I think, and that is also when we work with God. You cannot be working with the devil and be expecting discernment. That's not possible.
Exactly.
So Are you for God
Exactly.
or against him? So if you, the discernment we are talking about is, it comes with relationship, your relationship with God. So then God can instruct you, and then it's not left to you for you to be able to obey,
Exactly.
to do it
Exactly.
or not. Because yes, most of us could discern, and then it's, God is not going to force us to obey. Like, you choose. So that's what we are advocating here right now. Everything we're talking about is about making right choices here. Like, whatever thing you're
And
doing,
me,
just
I was also making excuses. I made excuses. I felt like, oh, these are men. They are proud. They are these with ego. Let me make excuse for him, you know. I
we
was
do that.
making
Yeah,
a
we do
lot of
that.
excuse for
We do that.
him. And then I didn't know that the more I made excuse, I'll just fight about it. Like, for instance, that the example I just gave, I talked about it. I was like, seriously? Did you just say that? Or
Hmm.
did you think that I did not see what you just said now to your friend? And then it was like, sorry, he felt remorseful immediately. So
Hmm.
because of the apology and, I did not think to actually note that down as a red flag or as something that I should worry about or I should look into. Should I really worry about the fact that this person does not like know my worth or appreciate my worth or something? I didn't see it like that. Maybe sometimes we need to begin to note down some things. It sounds crazy, it sounds funny, but at the end of the day, it will help. It helps because you begin to when they begin to now become often more and more and more, then you now know, okay, this is a problem that we need to address because this person, in my journey in my life, this person can probably slow me down.
Nimat, one of
Yes.
the issue I think we are suffering from as African individuals is the place of communication. We lack that. So I think we don't have to wait until it comes to, like, you start observing. No, like, we are not taught to ask questions. Because when you
Hmm.
ask questions, it's kind of like, is either you are being disrespectful, you're a nag, you complain too much, they give so many names to it and all of that. You're rude, you are that. You see, even, I don't know if you have observed it, like when you find yourself maybe in a church setting, right? And maybe during Bible study or Sunday school and all of that, you are questioning things, people will start seeing like your own is too much. That
Exactly. They'll be like,
is,
so you know
yes, that is
so you know everything.
a programming thingy. Is how the thing has been programmed, from
Hmm.
generation to
The
generation to generation.
social mindset.
Yeah. So now I believe that, as partner, when you're in a relationship, when you observe or notice that your partner did something and you don't like it, you see, you want to ask the person. It might not be immediately, like, maybe okay, after that, and then you're like, babe, wait, you said no, don't. Why did you say that? You want to know the why, because sometimes it could be a pattern, it's thing that they are just used to, and habits
Hmm.
rather. And habit, they just like, oh, it's nothing, because they've seen it. Is not, maybe their mom is nothing to their father. You see,
Yeah.
so you want to know, wait,
Hmm.
why did you do that? You said this when we were on the bus. Why did you say that? You see, you said you're going to do this thing yesterday. You didn't do it. Why is that? The why question is not like maybe you are trying, you just want to help them come to that place of awareness themselves. Do you know what you're doing? Because if you continue to do this without even knowing that you are hurting me with these things, then when we get together, it's going to destroy our love, our relationship. So I think it's very, very important that we learn to. It's not easy. This is a skill that we have to learn, to start asking questions. And when we are asking those questions, when we are communicating, we have to be able to be mindful of our tone, our body posture, the way we ask those questions. Oh, and we should ask in love. You see, I just want to know. So I just want to know. So next time I see you do things like that, I don't just assume. Assumption is a relationship killer. So I don't assume or say, okay, and you did it the last time, and all of that. I start keeping record of wrongs and all of that. So that communication is something like, and also don't I think another thing is while we were trying to wrap it up, people need to understand that, see, the end goal of our life has nothing to do with marriage. It has nothing to do with romantic relationship. So even if you are 40, you are 50, you are see, don't let that be the reason why you are chasing shadows. Make sure that the focus, like if you're talking about purpose, right? When you work on yourself, you're living the life God has designed, created you to live. And you're becoming, it's a becoming thing. You are becoming the woman, the man God has created you for. It's not going to be what's it called? It's not going to be a difficult thing for you to be able to identify what you don't want. For you to be
Exactly.
able
For
to
me,
identify who you want.
being in a wrong relationship did not stop me from wanting to transform into the woman that I wanted to be. The problem started to occur. The problem only started to occur when I started to transform. You see, I would tell him, I remember some years back, I would tell him that because the water is calm does not mean that there's no tiger or there's no crocodile, excuse me, inside this water. You want Nima to be calm. You want Nima to be quiet. You don't want her to say anything. You want her to remain the Nima, the very old Nima that doesn't really, fight much. That just, let things slide. I was young. I didn't have experiences. I didn't know that, okay, I should fight for what I want or what I don't like. I didn't know that if I want to eject, that old video cassettes kind of
Yeah.
that we used to watch back then when we were so young. I didn't know that you have to press the eject button if you want the cassette to come out. If I don't want something, I have to reject it. I just felt like, okay, if I don't want it, I'll just talk about it a little bit and then it will go away. I didn't know. I had to learn when I started to evolve, when I started to change, when my mindset started to advance. I'll now see some things as a problem. And when I talk about it, then we begin to have problems. You want me to be calm. You want me to just remain that girl, that quiet, that calm, cool girl that doesn't give you problems. But you don't want to change. You don't want to be a better person. You don't want to give me reasons not to, make a fuss about anything at all. You don't want to give me a reason not to worry that all of the situation remains unsolved, but you want me to just be quiet. If I'm quiet, we're good, we're happy. And I kept on evolving. New wine skin. Abi, how does Bible says it? You can't put new wine in old wine skin. You can't expect me to be evolving in a certain part of my life and then that would be that's me being hypocrite with myself. That's me being hypocrite because I'm advancing in my life. I'm, wanting to become something. I'm doing things a certain way, but I'm just living that aspect of my life because I can't change it, or because I don't want to make trouble.
So the power of a woman or a man is in their self-identity.
That's beautifully analyzed. That's where it is.
And then, in that, then you build confidence. You can walk in when someone says they are living oh, okay, no problems. And then you focus on what matters, because what matters is that purpose.
Exactly.
You're created
for. Yeah, I want to round up with this statement from Beyonce. I watched I didn't really watch the interview, but maybe I just happened to scrolled on that particular part and I wanted to listen to what she was saying. they asked her a question about when should a woman, marry or go into a relationship. And she said, a woman who does not know who she is, was never found herself, who does not know who she is, should never, ever go into a relationship or even a marriage. And I looked at the lady. This is somebody that started, a relationship with her husband at a very, very young age. That means even before she started, she was allowed to find herself. At least she knows what will work for her. And then she made that choice. She made that decision to be with that man. And that man allowed her to continue to grow, to continue to advance, to continue to become, until she's now fully blown up to who she is now. So even if we're not sure, because they always say like marriage is like a black market. Even though you know everything, like you're sure, there are some things that will still come out when you are married, and then hey, you be like, eh. There's some basic things like, will this person make room for my becoming? Will this person, will my growth, will this person nurture me? Can we nurture each other? Can we nurture each other? Even in relationships. Can we nurture each other to grow? I think those are basic things that, little things that we must not fail to like look out for. I got involved with someone recently, and while talking, I with our conversations, with his actions, with his behaviors, reactions towards things, I quickly knew that we're not going in the same direction. So whatever it is that is making me feel like I think I can make do with this person, it's not doing me, good. So I withdrew from building that relationship in any form or any way. Maybe it's because I just came out of a relationship. I knew that, let me walk whatever I want to walk in now. Let me walk with my eyes open, my head raised up high, and every network in my mind, let it be alert.
Yeah, and not just because you just came out of a relationship, it's because you are now self-aware.
Exactly.
Of your worth. You know that you are enough. You know where you're going and who you want to go with.
Exactly.
You know who you want to sail that ship with. You see, you don't just want someone to sink your ship.
Exactly.
So I think it's about that. And you is a continuous thing that you are still working on yourself. You are still growing. I don't want anyone to come and kill your lights for you.
Someone that I must work with now is someone that is ready to make room for bigger growth, that is ready to always make room. Oh, let's clear the space. And I'm not talking about physical space. I'm talking about space in his mind, ready to be considerate, ready to be to let go of things, to unlearn, like I'm unlearning, you see.
Yeah.
Ready to make changes when it is necessary. That's how we grow, because growth is about change. We're transforming. We keep transforming.
It's a choice.
Yes, growth is a choice, but whether we decide to make that choice or not, we are growing. We are transforming into something.
Goodness, that is deep right there.
We are transforming into something, whether we like it or not. Whether you accept this particular growth is one or the other. Whether you decide, I'm doing this.
If you refuse to choose, They will choose for you.
Yeah, exactly.
The
If you
world will
refuse
choose
to
for
fall
you.
in place, you will fall in another place. So that's just it. So it's better we just do what's best for us and be ready to know that we're adults that will definitely take responsibility for our actions.
Amen. So can two work together unless they be agreed?
We
Make sure
agree.
whoever you are working with, you are on the same page with that person. You are agreeing. Okay. All right. Thank you, sis. I appreciate you. Thank you for your time. And I hope we do this again soon. All right. And thank you for blessing us. So I'll see you
Thank you
again.
so much for having me. I'm really happy to be here. Say hello.
Hi, Ian.
I'm really happy to be here, and I hope
That's
that we
okay.
can do this often and often. I hope that we can do this often and often.
Yeah. We should. All right. My greetings to your boys. Okoyemi, hi. My
He's not
greetings
here,
to.
actually.
Sorry.
He's not here. It's just me.
Okay. Okay. All right, now, sis. Let me allow you
Okay.
to enjoy your time with your boys. Okay.
This one has already missed me, like, seriously. Okay, now, sis.